Yo, what up, everybody? Super excited to bring to you one of my favorite people in the world,
Aw.
Hansen she has her own coaching practice called Massive Impact Coaching. She's a bright ball of energy. The reason why I have this is because we met at the Summit of Greatness exactly a year ago, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like we've known each other for much longer than that, and I'm just really excited to bring to you her energy, her positivity, her words of wisdom, and just you're like a really inspirational person to all of us, and I'm so glad to have you in my life.
Awesome. I'm happy to be here. This is
Yeah,
my first podcast.
awesome. I'm sure there'll be many
Oh,
many more to come
for
afterwards.
sure. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so other people know when we first met each other, we're twins.
Yeah, we were waiting in line for registration
Yeah.
and we just hit it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gina like has this like amazing energy about her that everyone just gravitates towards her. Like she's like the life of the party, and like you just attract, like, I'm sure like you're into like laws of attraction as well, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah. So I actually have been calling you my twin, my male twin, because you are similar in characteristics as I am. My personality is super like in alignment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how we often like are much harder on ourselves than we are about other people, right? Like
Hmm.
it was interesting because I remember like meeting Spencer, and we actually like still talk like pretty often because he's a part of my men's group that I put together.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been cool to just like see Spencer grow, and it was his spotlight month last month. So he got to spend like an hour sharing in front of like our all 12 of us, like his like vulnerabilities and like all that. And I definitely think that we're like our own worst critic like a lot of times.
Right. Right. But I did recognize my goodness in you. Like, hey, he's positive like me.
Yeah,
He's friendly like me.
he's a smiley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was easy.
I remember like I was like telling a story to my friend because I was like talking to Edwin because like he was supposed to join us this year for but then COVID happened, so we did it virtually this year. But
Yeah.
like I was like, oh my God, you have to meet Gina. She's like our triplet because he calls me like doppelganger. So
Yeah.
like, dude, like I can't wait for you to meet her. She'll be like our triplet. He's like, oh
Yeah. Right. That is so cool.
yeah.
Anyways, I'm really happy that you're in my life and now you're on my advisory board.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh my God. I know when you reached out to me, I was like definitely imposter syndrome. I was like, how am I gonna help her? She's killing it at life. Like, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I'm like younger, but I guess that's what's cool about you. Like you're so humble that you're like, oh, it's cool. Like age is just a number, it's like not really like a thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the coolest thing about last year. When I met you and everyone else we started to hang out with. I was the oldest, but I didn't feel old at all. I felt like I just really just belonged right with you. So it was great. Super comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, people must say that a lot, right? Like that they're like, "Oh, like I thought you were like 21."
Yeah. Oh, I wish.
And then, you're a mom, and
Mhm.
this has been an interesting year for you too, right? Like there's a lot of changes in your life.
Yes.
Would you be willing to walk us through like what happened with on like the medical side of your life?
Sure, yeah. So in February, I was diagnosed with papillary thyroid cancer and was shocked because in my mind, I am healthy. I'm healthy right now. I have always been healthy. And so to hear that this was growing in my body, I was like, no way. I was in total denial. And so another one of my values is holistic healing and our body's ability to heal itself through plant medicine and thoughts and all kinds of amazing, cool devices and technology.
Mm.
So, Dane, do you want to peek in here? This is my son. Come here really quick. This is my son. 16 years old. Just thought I would say introduce him, but anyways, so what was I talking about? The cancer. So I decided right away that even though, so this is the story. My doctor that diagnosed me told me that, if I had any cancer in the world, this would be the cancer to have. I would want this cancer because it's slow growing, and normally you just cut it out and and your life is back to normal. So I thought, okay, that eased me up, eased my feelings. And then boom, he goes, and so I'm gonna send you to a surgeon. And I was like, whoa. Whoa, this is getting real.
Mm.
And I wasn't ready for that. I needed to process. And so he was moving really fast, and I wasn't ready to go there. And so I had, in the course of going from the office to the car, I got very angry. And I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to cut this cancer out of my body, And so I got on the phone with my mom, and I told her, this is my plan. I'm going to go to Mexico because I heard Dr. Mark Hyman talk about this place there. And she's like, please go to the surgeon because I just want you to get, some information on that, the Western medicine side. So I went to visit the surgeon. I also had a consultation with a surgeon oncologist from Mexico. And I decided that I could go the holistic path and still come up, later, if it didn't work, then I could always fall back on the surgery. So I decided to go to Mexico, and I had an amazing time there, 3 weeks. And what I liked about it is not only did they attack and focus on little tools like hyperbaric oxygen, what is the name of it? I see now. Wait. Okay, I can't remember. Okay, wait, it's gonna come to me in a second. Now I can't remember it. Sorry, it's the stress of this. But it's regional. There it is. Regional hyperthermia. Regional. It's not a complete. It's a focused heat device that they put on my neck, and then they were able to heat it up. And cancer doesn't like that. So I was able, in the course of 3 weeks, I was able to shrink all of the tumors in my neck by 20% with the treatments that I had there.
Huh.
In any case, when I came back home, I knew, so for me, this is going to be, tell me if you want, this is like the long version. So basically I had all of these amazing treatments there while I was there. And then COVID, it was a time of COVID, and I had to come home at the end of March to Hawaii. And when I came back, it took a long time for me to get my medication in the mail. I didn't have a doctor, and I felt confident when I left, and now I'm feeling self-doubt. Now I'm home, I'm alone. How am I going to do this? How am I going to kick it? And so I went through this little time where I was turning my focus towards, let's just get it out, then I can move on. And there's so many other things I need to attend to in my life. And so I decided, like maybe a month being home, that and I continue to get the high dose vitamin C and other things, treatments here in Hawaii. I found integrative medicine doctors here that were able to support the same types of therapies I was having in Mexico.
Mm.
Except for my hyperbaric oxygen, which really helped me with my detoxification in my lungs, which is a whole different thing. But I believe that my body was highly toxic because I was in a uniform that was made out of toxic materials. Formaldehyde and other chemicals were in the dyes. And I believe that was the last straw that my body could take. And I'm just so thankful that I had noticed the changes in my body and paid attention to it so that I could get the treatment that I needed. or else I wouldn't have, ever known. So I came home. I decided to get the surgery after all, took it out, and I'm healed. And the lump is gone, and
Uh,
it feels really good. They took a lymph node out, and it's not. It's not in my lymph system, so it's all gone. That I so far, yay!
this like until you just share it. Like, yeah, it's like not very noticeable actually.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like another smile.
I love
Yeah,
positivity.
my second smile.
Aw,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my whole story. But there's more. But I just am really thankful that I had that opportunity to experience other ideas in nutrition and bio, like magnet therapy and other things like that. That is super cool. Yeah.
it's awesome. And
Mhm.
um, wow. So it seemed like it's interesting. Like, so you also quit like you retired from being a flight attendant as well, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I guess like the good thing about that job is that you were able to like explore the world and you were able to travel a lot, right?
Right. Yeah. And most people think that I quit because of the cancer.
Hmm.
They think that that was the reason that I was high risk, but
Uh,
I I don't believe that. I don't believe that I am, because I believe it's out and I believe I'm healthy now. I don't believe I'm at risk at all because I am healthy. So it's what you think, and don't listen to what other people think. That's their fear.
yeah, that's interesting because like I'm sure like most people, like if we were to listen to what most people say, right? They'd be like, "Oh, Gina, you should act your age. Like, why are you hanging out with 30 something year olds?" Or but then like it's like, well, that's their problem. That's their issue. Like, what does that have to do with you? You know?
Totally. Yeah. And it's funny how their thoughts, they try to express it on you and
Mm.
keep you in that box. And it's like, no, I'm not in this box. I am healthy. I am cool. People love to be around me. So that is what I tell myself. And it's true, because I don't believe that we should be caged into any identity that is not our own, our true essence of who we are, and it doesn't matter age, religion, sex, whatever. I mean, we're all people, and we should all just get along with each other and not see the differences and see the positive things that we are radiating out of each other, like, because
Mm.
that's where the magic is.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
there's two stories that I definitely remember from when you came to visit us in like Vivian and I in New York when we went to Italy.
Yeah.
I remember like you were bonding with the waiter like so much, right? So you're like I think you had like macadamian
Yeah. I brought Hawaiian chocolates. Yeah.
and you're gifting like the Uber driver, the taxi driver, like
Mhm.
everyone. And I was just like, like I'm sure people always say this, but they love having people like you like in their life, right? Because like it's like it's hard to not be inspired when you're doing like things like that all the time, you know?
Yeah. That's the aloha spirit. We like to give, that's how it is. That's how I was raised. I'm from here, Hawaii. So yeah, that's my culture.
Do you think it's like because I feel like the what's his name, the Mark Benioff, the guy like the founder of Salesforce,
Hmm.
he said that like Hawaii had like such a huge like influence on him
Oh,
in building like the Salesforce culture that he even like named one of the like the value like the company values is like aloha, like that was like his biggest value.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, so I guess like it like impacts like so many people.
Hmm. Very cool. Yeah.
And and then this is like completely on the opposite side, but we had a really interesting conversation today about like how we both grew up and how that's like made us like very like personable and like made us like more interested in the world of self-development and joy and coaching and things like that. Would you
Mhm.
be willing to share like a little bit about like how you think how your growing up has impacted like you wanting to impact like so many lives as a coach?
Sure. Well, like we were talking this morning as we were both walking. um, I was saying that, like, you had shared about how your dad is coming next month and stuff. And then I had shared about how when I was 13 years old, I didn't know. I thought my dad that was raising me was my father. And for years, there was my uncle Mike that would come and visit me on my birthdays and give me lots of presents, and he'd sign the birthday card, love Daddy Mike. And I didn't understand it for years. And then finally when I was 13 years old and I was alone with my mom, I said, Mom, why does Uncle Mike call himself Daddy Mike? And she said, because he is. I was like, no way. No way. So yeah, that was a big shift in my whole life, because I think then my father started feeling uncomfortable that I knew, because everything was cool when I didn't know, but now I know, and now he feels awkward because, I don't know why.
Huh.
But so that was a turning point in my relationship with my father as well.
Yeah.
And that now years later, I'm finally starting to have a relationship with my biological dad who lives on the Big Island. So
Oh,
yeah,
well, and that's beautiful. Was there ever any like hatred, or was there like any animosity? Like, did you ever feel like why didn't he like stick around, or why wasn't he more present like physically in your life?
not at all. No, because the situation was my mom got pregnant right out of high school. And as most cases, they assume that that everyone assumes that people are going to get together and get married, and that's it. But she didn't. So they started planning. My family started planning her wedding, and she's like, no, this is not what I want.
Hmm.
So she took me to another island, to Oahu, and raised me, here, and ended up reconnecting with my her high school sweetheart, who ended up adopting me years later.
Oh,
Yeah. So for me, I think that's super courageous that she listened to her intuition, and she didn't care what all these adults were telling her, her power figures, authority figures were telling her this is her life. And she said, no, it's not. And she just, went on her. She didn't know. She also didn't know what was going to happen. Wasn't in a relationship with my dad when she did that.
hmm.
So,
You're right. It is very courageous. I think most people would be like, "Oh, this is kind of what we're supposed to do," like, but the fact that she was courageous enough to like see it and not have to live that life, and then, people would go through that and then they'll get a divorce one day, right? They'll be like, "Nah, like, like it's not working out." But that was courageous of her to make that decision, I'm sure it wasn't easy.
oh, I know. It wasn't easy for sure. But they get along now. I mean, they both like each other, so there's no issue there. Yeah, it's just that she didn't want to spend her life with him. So,
It's interesting. Because like I guess like for me, like why I got into self-development and why I started going to like listening to Lewis Howes and stuff like that was like I actually had like a lot of animosity towards my dad because like when I think he left when I was like 15 around. So
mhm.
I was always like, oh, like why me? Like why didn't you want to stick around for me and stuff? So I think for like 13 years, like I had like a lot of hatred, like, but I didn't realize it. It was like more like subconscious hatred. Like I never really verbally like said like, oh, I hated you, dad, but it was just like underlying. I was always like seeking like I guess like I was like kind of like a chameleon because I guess I wanted to like have a lot of friends and
Mhm.
I wanted to like fit in, so it's interesting how but it all comes around circle because of Lewis Howes and because of all the self-development work. I'm healed at a point where I can invite him to my wedding, even though he wasn't, around for most of my life. So it's interesting to see like how that plays an impact on your relationships. Even though it's like it happened like when I was like 15. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
And my biological father came to my wedding, but what I wish I had done was have him speak, because my father had died by that time, my father that raised me,
Mhm.
and I didn't have him actively involved, and it was okay. but now that I look back, I think I wish I could have done something to acknowledge his presence there. You know?
Oh, uh,
Yeah.
mm. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's interesting. Yeah. That Yeah, because I feel like family is like such a because like when it comes to like your friends, like you have more of like an active role in like choosing who they are, right? It's like, oh, she's positive, she's happy, like I want to be friends with her, you know? When it comes to like your family, like you don't really have much of a choice, right? It's sort of like, well, at least initially, you don't have a choice, like in terms of like picking who they are, right? And then then you have a choice of like how much time and energy would I want to dedicate? You know, am I committed to, the family dynamics? But I think, family is one of those things that's like I often one of the most talked about like coaching topics. I feel like, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like at least like that's what I've noticed. Like the mark, I feel like 90% of the conversations it's about like relationships. So,
Hmm.
first is like your relationship with your partner and then like relationship with your mother and then your kids, I feel like are like the second and third most talked about topics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So when I started doing personal development, I was able to introduce my mother and my brother to it, but my sister is totally against anything. Like she is anti-learning and growing, so she's never been through the whole experience. But my brother and my mom went to the basic program and then the next level, which is away. They had to travel to California for this, and they were very proud of their what they learned and who they became after the week program. They're like they just stood a little taller and they were just really happy.
Mm,
So that made me happy that I was able to give them this opportunity to grow and see more good in themselves.
mm.
Yeah.
I think that's like probably like the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from a lot of the self-development thing. Like I think it's just being kinder to yourself, like, you know, b- and, and specifically around next level, it's like more clarity around like your purpose and more intentional about like how we create our lives instead of like kind of going through the motions and then one like, oh, like I don't think I like this, it's
Yeah.
a bit more planned or more like intentional, I think is probably like the word that I would use.
Yeah. But I do wish that my sister will see the light one day. Because I think that she's stuck in that negative spiral, and my brother, he's learning slowly. He's learning slowly how to change his life and his relationships. So
Mm.
yeah, but I think the keys that he learned are like, these little tricks and tips that you learn have been able to pull him up out of his negative self-talk and really how harsh he is on himself about what he's done in the past and not see himself as he is now and not see the good in him and also not look ahead to what is possible for him. So
Mm. Yeah, that's
yeah.
a good point. I do think like I've healed like a lot of the past because like I think I was able to like reframe like a negative situation to see that, oh, okay, actually like that was probably one of the best things that's happened to me. Like even with my father leaving, like prior to doing all this work, like I was kind of like, oh, like that was like a horrible stage of my life. But then now I'm like, oh, actually it was beautiful because now I get to impact like thousands of lives with, with this podcast and the YouTube and
Mhm.
stuff. So I'm like, I don't think I would be as into it,
Yeah.
if that didn't happen, you know.
For sure. So how I got involved, it wasn't something that I planned on doing. It wasn't something that I even thought of. I knew about. So I had been doing a network marketing business, and I had made it to the leadership level in a couple of months, like pretty quickly rise to the ranks. And um, but along the way, there was another friend that was in our business with me, but not directly. And she started around the same time with me, but her husband was working with her. So they definitely like catapulted towards the top of, of the pay scale, you know. And what I heard from my upline was, you know, get your husband involved, because, you know, two people are just more power, be a power couple, da, 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 you know. And I just continued to self-doubt and judge myself based on, because we had started at the same time, and like I felt like the turtle in the hair. And I didn't feel worthy, or I mean, I was lacking and judging myself. I didn't think it was possible to do it on my own.
Huh.
And so I hit the wall at one point, and one of my girlfriends, I had told her this is how I was feeling. I'm judging myself, comparing myself to this other girl. And she said, she left the room, and then she came back, and I was like, why did she leave? I'm telling her, I'm like I'm crying, I'm busting out my heart to her, and she's leaving. And so she comes back in and she sits down and she goes, I think it's time. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, are you open to growing yourself? And I said, yes. And she goes, I'm going to set you up. There's another class in December, you know, in Honolulu, and you can get started. And, you know, and I didn't know what this was about, but I did know that I needed to get rid of, change my mindset, because I wanted to have the results that I wanted in my life. So
Huh.
I had to do it.
Would you share a little bit more about the program that you did, and then even like how you met Curie, and then how you you know, how you're involved with NLP now?
Yeah. So, well, the program here in Hawaii is called Sai Seminars, PSI. They also have other locations in LA, Arizona, Las Vegas, and Seattle. And sometimes they have it on the East Coast as well. But they're pretty, it's an older company, years and years back. Was originally started here in Hawaii. And a lot of the people that have the same, you know, the same teachings and the same beliefs are like Bob Proctor and some other really famous people, have also gone through and been facilitators at the ranch, and that's what their main location is in Northern California. It's called the Ranch.
Ranch.
And yeah, so we have these locally, and then the basic levels, and then we have to move on to the second, third, fourth level, and that's always at the ranch. And so it's been incredible. To me, the second level was the most, because that's where the physical aspect of this growing really affected me. You know, crazy things like climbing a telephone pole and jumping off, and crazy things like that. You know, just stuff that really empowers you and makes you feel really confident that you can do it. So that, and then I've gone through the whole program, and Bob Proctor's been there at least 2 times at the ranch, and spoken with us, and some other people that, yeah. So that was the Sai Seminars. And then now we have the opportunity, once you go to basic, you can always, for the rest of your life, re-audit. So you can go and see it again and learn it again all the time. And I like that. And then we can also help co-facilitate, not really, kind of like help lead small groups and stuff like that. So it's great to have the opportunity to give back and help other people just starting off on this road. Yeah, that's what I like about it. And then Carrie and I we had known each other through this business that I do. She's in another downline as well, but we're, you know, living on the same island. And I had been looking at coaching programs. I reached out to you and Jackie and Kiri, because you guys are all certified already. And I was looking at the programs that you guys went through, and I liked things about it, but there was something that I just couldn't commit to, and I didn't know why it was, until Kiri came back to me with this program that included neuro-linguistic programming and coaching certification. And this was the same program I had looked at like 2-3 years before, like 8 years ago. So now it's coming back to me, and I was like, oh, maybe this is it then, because it's coming back, you know, and this is something I was interested in before. So I'm happy I did, because they have for the first time, they have an online program, and Nikki really puts a lot of effort. Her videos are long, and just for a couple $100 more, you can attend the live session. So for the cost of what I'm learning here at home, I can just spend just a couple more hundred and go to anywhere in the world. She's got
Huh.
Amsterdam, Bali, and LA and Miami. So
Oh,
she does the live trainings there. So yeah, I like that I can learn at my own pace. And I've been meeting people from all over the world to practice with. Like just last night, I was training with someone in Amsterdam, someone in Lebanon,
wow.
Philippines, you know, and so it's just really broadened my circle of influence and my new friends that I have. So yeah, I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. So you've experienced a lot of different types of coaching, and I'm curious, like, so it has been 1 year since we did. Oh yeah, and then we forgot to mention that we just completed the actual virtual Summit of Greatness this year as well. I know it's a little bit different, like online, but what were some of the takeaways that you've learned from this year's like virtual summit, if you don't mind sharing?
Sure. For me, like some of it was a repeat, like we were talking about the repeat speakers, but to me, those were the ones that were impactful last year. And so much has happened in the course of this year that I've grown like super fast. And it was because of the things that were said last year. I remember last year when I heard Stefan Speak say, um, had asked a question and done some coaching in the audience to a lady that was standing and talking about her relationship.
Mm,
And he just said, and it was starting to get energetically like, whoa, you know, like elevated, because she was like, you know, the energy was high. And then he just brought it down like with this, a boom. He said, is he the one that you want to spend the rest of your life with?
yeah,
He said, no. And then I was like, whew, you know, that one question just was like, you know, I mean, because it had gotten so like, you could feel the energy in the room was like, all of these, you know, these emotions were up high. And then he asked this one question and he brought it down, and she just said no, you
yeah,
know, and then she tapped into her intuition. And so when he reheard it again, I was like, yeah, I remember feeling this, and I'm replaying this again, you know. And so just hearing that was so impactful, I think, because um, just relationships in general, and also it inspired me to literally come home and start the conversation with my husband about the direction of our marriage. So but it gave me, last year's summit gave me the start of the courage to really speak about what I want and the future that I want to build. So
yeah.
yeah, that's how I feel. And then this year, the big takeaways, I had never heard Brendan Burchard before. So his
Hilarious.
talk was, yeah, it was funny. I could relate because I've done skydiving before and I've had the same fear, but the way that he told his stories, it was just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I was jotting in my notes this morning earlier today. Like, I felt like I learned more about public speaking from his talk because he's such a great speaker.
Hmm.
That's such a valuable skill. Like, the
Yeah.
he was able to do voice variations and like kind of like talk slower and then
Yeah.
like raise his voice and then like he was able to like be funny, like or
Hmm.
just thick voice, and then he was it was awesome because like that's such a valuable skill. Like he was like keeping you hanging on to like every single word, and then he would like faster and then slower. I was just like, this
Yeah.
guy is brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he went over his high performance habits.
Mm.
And to me, the one, number 4, increase PQO, prolific quality output.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop holding back. And I wrote down 60% of my work activity aim towards your goal. And I that was just like,
Mm.
he said streamline, narrow down your focus on what matters. And that's exactly what I've been doing. since hearing him speak on it, because I believe I was all over the place, and I have to just look at what what is my intention, what is my mission, and how am I going to be able to serve who needs me in the way that they need me, you know? So I think he, to me, was the most impactful.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
good. And it's cool, like just the, because it is a pandemic and a lot of people are, like in a fight or flight mode, right? But
Hmm.
there's this whole community that's thriving, right? Like we always focus on like the bad stuff, but then people don't realize there's actually a lot of people who are thriving in this environment too. So I think when you surround yourself with like Lewis Howes and this community, you're like, okay, like you can make stuff happen. Like, like there's abundance everywhere, even in times that, obviously the world is struggling, but that doesn't mean like you have to struggle too.
Right. Well, it's all vibration and frequency,
Mm,
When you live from fear, you're going to keep attracting that low vibration. But if you surround yourself and you live from love and gratitude and kindness
mm.
and positivity, that upper vibration, when you live from that, that's where the abundance is. That's where the creativity is, and things start to flow in your life. Like when I retired from the airlines in the end of July, I didn't know what I was going to do for a business. I knew I'm too young to retire, really. So I had to find something else. And when I did that, when I took that leap of faith and just said, Lord, here I am, lead me, that's when people started coming to me with opportunities. And I was just getting so much, people were lifting me up and supporting me. And so I know that if it wasn't because I didn't have fear of the what if. I knew something was going to happen,
Mm.
and I was all about, making it happen. So yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and even with someone reaching out to you to offer you coaching that
oh
was
my God.
dollars, like that's because of your vibration. Yeah.
Right. Someone reached out to me who was just a new friend and said, I'd love to coach you for free for pro bono. And I was like, what? He said, choose the program that you want. And I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, where do I want to do? So yeah, I ended up taking his courageous warrior of love
Mm.
program, and it's great. I really love it. It's very spiritually based, and the questions, dig deep, which I really like. Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel
Yeah.
like you it's interesting because like I think a lot of people that get into the self-development start off with in like network marketing, right?
Mm.
It's like you learn how to connect and relate with people. You learn how to enroll, how to influence, like how to make stuff happen. You learn how to like deal with rejection, or you learn like not to take yourself so seriously that because I think a lot of us are afraid of rejection, right?
Right.
Like,
For me, like the biggest shift in my life when I became a network marketer was dreaming. I had forgotten to dream. You get on that wheel, you go, 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 and your life is just going, and you're paying your bills. This is just going. It's flying by so fast, and it wasn't until I began because really, network marketing is personal development with a compensation plan, um, right?
I love that.
Yeah. so so for me it was just a matter of starting to dream big again. Like, what do I want in my life? And I believe so many people are lacking in that ability to tap into what they really want to create. Yeah.
You're right. I think too often we ask like our parents like to tell us what to do, or our partners like, oh, like what do you think I should do? But we all know innately what we want. I think sometimes it's easier for us to ask for advice, and sometimes we even over leverage our mentors, right? It's like, well, what do you think I should do? But it's like we know, sometimes we just want that extra validation.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So it's nice. It's great to, and for me being like a, you know, a team leader in our group, you know, it's great. Again, just like coach, it goes hand in hand with coaching, because I get to coach the new people, the new business partners that I bring in, and you know, help them set goals and help them learn the tools that they can take to reach what they want in their lives. So it's cool. It's like parallel.
Y-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the skill of getting someone to say yes is so valuable, right? Because I feel like that you can take with you anywhere, right? Whether it's like, winning over friends or making new friends to, you know, starting your own business or whatever it is, right? You're like the goal, like the ability to get people to say yes, like who wouldn't want that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And we're always selling anyways. A lot of people go like, I'm not into sales. I'm not, you know, all these limiting beliefs people have. Sometimes people will tell me like, oh, my friend or my cousin said it doesn't taste good. And I'm like, does your friend like do you guys have similar tastes? You know, because everybody has a different taste. Like some people like spicy, some people like sweet. You know, like how can you judge your own experience in life based on what other people are experiencing?
That's a good point. Yeah, like there'd be so many times where like someone would be like, "Yeah, that was a really good movie," and I was like, and then vice versa. Sometimes I think it's like an amazing movie, and I can't stop talking about it. And I mean, sometimes like people are like, "Oh yeah, that was awesome," but like sometimes they're like, "Yeah, not my cup of tea," you know?
Yeah. Well, okay, this is truth here. So I asked you like a couple months ago, like what book should I read next? And then you told me a book. And I looked at the book and I was like, nah, that's not for me. So, you know, but that's just an example, totally an example of how people have their own tastes.
Yeah,
And you're gonna limit yourself and your opportunities by what other people have experienced in the past, and you're living a small life, you
yeah.
know?
Wait, now I'm curious. What book was it that I recommended to you? Now I'm curious. Uh,
No, it was in queue.
oh, and yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't what I was looking for
Were you reading it or?
at the time. But I love him because he was at Summit of Greatness last year and I loved him.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You don't remember?
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you're to your point, like everyone's different, right? Like some people might meet us and be like too much energy, you know what I mean? But
Totally.
most people are like, you're awesome.
Yeah. At least the people that we want to hang out with. Yeah.
I do have a funny like story about that once. I was like, yeah, my friend Gina, she's awesome. Like I was telling everyone, I was like, she was giving people like macadamia nuts, like the Uber driver, like people at Equinox, like our the waiter at Italy, and I was like, who wouldn't want to meet Gina? She's freaking awesome. And then he's like, yeah, and then it was in my podcast, so I guess other people were listening to that episode, and then one of my friends, Edwin's friend, texted him and was like, when he said that, I was like, I wouldn't want to meet her.
Oh.
Like who says that, but
Not a candy lover.
exactly, but
No
like,
nuts.
but I guess is like when I guess the more influence you have, the more you're putting yourself out there, there's always gonna be someone who's not gonna vibe with like at least one person, right?
Oh, for
So
sure. Yeah.
just get used to it because like you're just like, it's okay, like I know who I am and that's all that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not offended if somebody, I recently, you know, Facebook, especially right now with these people with their
Yeah.
strong strong ideologies and stuff, I'm like,
Yeah.
bye-bye. So, you know, like, and I'm sure they do that to me too. It goes two ways, you know, but it's okay because you know, our lives are going in a certain direction and that's the way it's meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's life, like whatever they have that's like trauma that comes up or whatever, like who knows like what happened, but at the
Mhm.
end of the day, like if like you're a good person, you're helping so many people, like that means more than like that one bad comment that you get once a year.
Yeah. And it's funny because I find that a lot of times it's the things that I am saying or doing are mirroring themselves and their beingness, and
Mhm.
either that's where so it really what it is they don't like this because it's a reflection of something in their lives,
Yeah,
so
that's deep.
interesting. I notice sometimes it's not all about me, it's about their experience and where they're at.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Gina. That like an hour went by like pretty quickly.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my god,
See?
that's crazy, an hour.
But I just want to acknowledge you for just, the massive impact that you're going to have in the world. And, like just taking the step of being able to like double down on you and just spreading like wellness and nutrition and health and, like that are you being like,
Mhm.
your positive thoughts is who you are, right? So I think like you're gonna be able to impact like so many more lives. I mean, you already are, but you're just gonna continue it on that path. And I'm so glad for our friendship. And yeah, I can't wait to see you and everyone. And yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, well, this was fun. I can't believe it was like this was a podcast. This is like hanging out with you.
We get stuff all the time, but I think everyone's at a different stage, right? So,
Mhm.
I'm sure people will get something out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Gina. I appreciate you and hope you enjoy. The weather's probably pretty nice over there right now, right?
Yeah, it's hot.
Oh,
I can't wait to open the door.
yeah.
Anyways, everyone, thanks for watching. Davidson is awesome. If you're not subscribers, subscribe right now.
I love that. Yeah, you heard, if you're not subscribed, then shame on you, man. Shame.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was fun.